Good afternoon, everybody. How is everyone today? Good to see you all in the chat, all saying hello where you're coming from. It's absolutely amazing the reach that this Q&A has. I was just saying to Louise, just reading out where everyone's from: Dorset, Washington, Chicago, Cape Town, Northumberland, Scotland. We reach worldwide. So before we go any further, obviously, can you hear me? And can you hear the lovely Louise?
Can you hear me?
Back at you. Oh, it's this, isn't it? That's what you can see. Yeah, that's okay. Should we zoom in on you a little bit there, Louise?
No.
Yes, come on, let's get in on you a little bit. Squeeze over the... There we go. That's better.
You've chopped my head off now, though.
Have I?
It's okay, no, don't worry. Oh, there's an echo. Echo, echo, echo.
Any better now? Is that better?
It started when you switched to Louise. Is there still an echo?
Don't know. Anyway. Vermont.
Echo.
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 All right.
Oh, it's better now. Okay.
Good. Quite a lot of echo.
All
echo good
gone.
now.
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Turned
Sorry.
Turned off that. Reverb. Yes, loud and clear now. Good. Echo, echo, echo. Thank you. All right.
It's lost all meaning now. Echo.
It has a bit, isn't it now? Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've had the day's gone by. We've had a photographer around taking photographs today. So we've been dressed up to the nines, having some really good, cool photographs taken for socials and for the book we're writing, which is the deadline's coming up for that very, very soon. I don't think we've told, and I'm not going to. We haven't told anybody what the book's all about, have we?
I did tell a customer this morning.
Well, the customer's not too bad, is it?
Because he thought it was going to be on something to do with sci-fi. And it made me laugh.
Why would he?
He said, yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Didn't you ask him, well, why did you think?
No, I just laughed. I don't know. Yeah, it just made me laugh. Yeah.
So very good.
Yeah.
Or do you follow the...
Oh, it happened again. Echo's back. Echo is back.
Yes.
The echo coming back. Echo.
Okay,
Echo.
okay. There we go. It was audio follows visual, so you had the camera microphone on as well, so that's okay. So we should be okay now. Good. So yeah, so it's not a book on sci-fi, but we're not saying what the book's all about yet, but we got 2 weeks today to submit it. We've been doing so many photographs. We spent all bank holiday weekend last week doing all the photographs. We've done about 1,500 photographs, haven't we? So we're in the process of editing all those as well. So that's really exciting news. Anything else, Louise, that has become exciting?
Diane, you sent me an email, and I'm so sorry I haven't replied yet, but I'm going to get an answer later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I know about this question, or should you ask me?
I'm sure I forwarded you the email, but I've just remembered that I haven't come back to you. But I'm going to do that later, Diane. I do apologise. It's been a bit of a delay.
Okay, good. Switch to split screen. Yes, it was on. Yes, so the echo's all gone. Yes, it was, yeah, audio followed visual on my little switcher here, so we're okay now.
Good.
All right, good. Anything else? We're trying to do a recap on anything that's happened. It's been bank holiday, it was last Monday, so there was no... And yeah, we're supposed to be having a workshop now over the next couple of weeks, but as I said, we got the book that has to be submitted 2 weeks today, so there's going to be no workshop at least for the next 2 weeks because we just...
Aww.
Oh, I just can't. We just cannot cope with the work. The book is bad enough, let alone trying to.
The book is going to be great.
The book is going to be really good. Really looking forward to that.
I'm excited about the book.
Good.
The book is a tech how-to.
I'm not saying a word yet.
It might be about Andrew's debauched life.
I'm not quite sure what that means, but
no, I don't really. I think you haven't read a debauched life. Yeah, I don't know. Could be a memoirs, couldn't it?
Yeah, who knows? I'd be really bored.
No, it is a tech. It is a tech how-to, but it's something that is needed. I think it is needed in the industry, and it covers a sector or a part of working at the bench, which is just so current.
Yes,
and so needed.
There hasn't been a book written on the subject since the 1980s, I think. So yeah, so we're getting on with that. As I said, we've done about 1,500 photographs. We've whittled them all down to about 250, 400 photographs.
I can't wait because
so
I've learned so much.
Yeah.
Because I've been reading the book. Obviously, I've been proofreading the book.
Yes.
I've been actually carrying out some of the work for the photographs, and what I've learned just from that. And I know now I'm going to have to keep a copy of the book because it was something we did the other day, and I thought I'm not going to remember that, so I'm going to have to keep a copy of the book on my bench to refer back to. So yeah, it is. I'm so excited for it.
It's going to be a good book.
It's going to be great.
Yes, so I expect that'll be published. If they can get it done by the end of the year, that'll be great. If not, it's going to be beginning of next year.
It is so needed.
So yep, so that's been on the cards. As the photographer's been around, it's just been absolutely hectic. Absolutely hectic. Louise has been coming up with some amazing new products as well. Experimenting with water casting, haven't you?
Yes, the water casting's been really fun.
Trying it from up here, down there, slow, fast, loads of different ways you've been trying just to try and get it.
Friday morning, 2 whole mornings, a whole of Friday morning. I don't think I did some on Saturday, but not much, and then a whole of yesterday morning, different techniques and different ways to basically dump the silver in the water. You probably know what water casting is, but it's basically putting molten silver into water. It's a bit more controlled than that. But you have a receptacle of water, a large one. I used a washing up bowl with water in it.
Yes.
And like a plate in the bottom. Otherwise, silver's gonna melt the bottom of the plastic bowl. So you need to think about that. Yeah, so it was like you say, it's the different height and the different speeds of pour. And I spent about, like say, 2 days, 2 mornings trying to work that out. And I came up with, I came up with something that worked towards the end of yesterday.
You did.
Which I'll share with you if you're interested.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm impressed with it. It is good.
It's fun. You just don't know what you're going to get. It's just that element of, oh my gosh, what's in the bottom of the bowl? And sometimes it's not really much that you can use. And sometimes it's just the most exciting, fascinating shapes. And they all look kind of like sea-like. Sometimes they look a bit like shells, oysters. Sometimes you get like deep cups. Sometimes you get like shallow dishes. Yeah.
Iridescent almost, some of them.
Yeah, well, I lost the colours and because, I just did.
Victoria's saying the book should be about adjustable straw frames. Ooh.
That would be a very short book if Andrew's writing it.
I'd like everybody's reasoning behind
and
why they like an adjustable straw frame.
Andrew put a short little film up on YouTube last week with what he uses solder paste for.
What I agree, yes. In this case, you need solder paste.
So go and have a look at that.
Yes, that's on YouTube. Check that out. Should we have a question?
I'm not sure.
Well, there's no questions.
I'm not sure we've had any questions. I've got a question off Brigitte actually.
Okay.
Via email.
Anyway, I'll say it's Monday. It's 4
you
o'clock.
You better had,
2nd of June already. It is time for our Q&A session that has been going on for how many years now? 4 years, is it?
5.
5 years.
5 years.
5 years. We've done it as many Mondays as we possibly can. Obviously, on holidays we can't, and bank holidays, but we've done it a long, long time. And we're still getting questions.
It's been virtually every Monday for 5 years. Like you say, apart from holidays, bank holidays.
Yeah.
It's never just been we're not going to do it. It's always been a reason why we haven't done it or haven't been able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're really good. They're still going strong. Still getting people on, which is what we want. Okay, Louise, we have a question.
Yes. Okay, so... Oh, I don't... Bridget, or is it? It might be Innes. I don't know. Anyway, the question is, Andrew rolls down the solder. How thin should it be?
Okay. So you roll down the solder quite a bit, don't you?
I always do. I can't cut it otherwise.
And I feel a lot of times you roll it down too thin, I think. Because yeah, I understand about limiting the strength that you need to cut it because you had a really nasty accident, isn't it?
I'm terrified ever since I literally cut the palm of my hand open with shears and it was really bad.
I like to take it down, bear with me a second, this one to there, to about half the thickness of what it is now. You take it down to a wafer thin, don't you?
I do, because then when I cut it, it just cuts like paper. Because if it's too thick, when you cut it, unless you cup your hand, which is a bad idea, as I found out to my peril, or cut it in a bag, the solder just pings off. But if it's really thin, I mean, does it affect the integrity of the solder?
No.
It just means you've got to cut a bigger piece, a bigger surface area because it's thinner. That's the only thing to bear in mind.
So the solders we got here are, what's this? This is a medium solder and this is 0.6. So I would take that down to half that, to about a third. But you take it down to like a fraction, like
really thin.
A tenth of a millimetre.
I haven't got time to, and then it turns like that in the shears and then,
I know.
Yeah, no,
so
can't be bothered with it.
You don't hammer it, but you roll it. You just whack down the rolling mill and just take it through.
So quick.
So I would take it down to half the thickness that it is now. That's 0.6. So I take it down to about 0.3. We got some other solder here, which is 0.5. Yeah, take it down half. It just makes life a little bit easier when you come to cut it.
So how can you roll it down too thin? You said I've rolled mine down too thin.
Me personally, I don't like it that thin because I feel that it increases the surface area. But you do put flux on that little piece of solder initially, so the flux will break down and stop oxides getting onto it.
99% of the time I pick solder anyway.
This is true. So I don't like to take it down that thin because the piece for me is too big. And then I find that the metal will oxidize more due to the greater surface area. That's the way I would be thinking of it. But you always put flux on top of your solder anyway, so you don't have to worry. But if you don't, because that massive piece of solder, there's a lot of surface area, a lot of oxides, and it may not melt down correctly without putting flux on it.
Yeah, that's flux on it, and then I melt it into a ball anyway, pick it up with my pick. Yeah. Otherwise, it's sometimes hard to gauge. Because if you've rolled it down really thin, sometimes it's hard to gauge how much solder you've got.
Yeah.
But then if you roll it into a ball, you can see exactly.
Yes.
Sometimes it's less than what you think.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll take it down half the thickness, but everyone is different. So Louise finds it easy to take it down to a wafer thickness.
I do it the easy way, yeah. And there's more. Are there any nozzles I can buy for an orca burner? I just seem to have the smallest one, which is not hot enough to prepare my crucible. I still have problems with that.
I'm not sure what thread is on your orca torch. There are nozzles available from a company in America. Do you know what? The name escapes me. They're downstairs. They're the little blue tips that I've got from a company. Page, well done. Page. P-A-I-G-E, I think it is. P-A-I-G-E.
Well, I'd be a bit of a terrible auntie if I forgot that, wouldn't I?
Page tips. They make tips for Smith's little torch and also for another torch. It could well be the orca, I'm not too sure. But go and check them out. They're Page tips. They're in America. We bought a whole set for over here. It's just too much money to stock them in this country. So we just bought them straight from the company. They did offer us distribution rights in the UK, but it just wasn't going to be worth it for the amount that we were going to sell. So go and check them out. Page Tips. They make tips for the Smith's little torch. They make the little extension nozzles and the tips that go on the end, and they are really good. So I do recommend them, definitely.
Good.
Yes.
Diane says, love water casting, broom casting too. That's cool. Andrew says, what adhesive would you recommend to attach silver or stones to wood?
To attach silver or stones to wood? My go-to would be araldite, an epoxy resin, two-part epoxy resin, a hardener and a resin, equal parts of both. You can get one that sets in like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Another one is the normal length setting. Yeah, so it depends upon you. It's not a flexible cement. It's quite a brittle cement, so it does not necessarily bend. So if you're trying to glue something onto a surface where the surface moves back and forth, because the epoxy resin is quite a rigid adhesive, you'll find that it will crack or the piece will come off. If it is slightly flexible, the surface that you're putting the silver onto, you'd have to use a bit more of a flexible adhesive, something like a contact adhesive that's a bit more sort of resinous, that will able to be sort of bent slightly. But so our go-to is always araldite epoxy resin. Yeah, that's what we use. Yeah. Yes, Lou.
Okay, Stephen has a question. I'm a newbie. I'm struggling to make 28 to 30 gauge jump rings. Any tips? So that's like 0.3.
Is it? You looked it up, have you?
Yeah, I've already looked it up for you. Do you want me to? I've got some wire next door. Do you want me to grab some? Or have you got some? I think I've got some copper. Ooh, I'm stuck.
So it's quite thin. The way I would do it, I'm just trying to look, just very quickly see what's around here.
Oh, you've moved everything.
I have moved everything, you're right, yes.
Tidy it up.
Yes, it's not there, Lou.
Oh.
Sorry. We use a jump ring maker. We use a Durston jump ring maker, and that comes with, I'm just trying to find it, I'm not quite sure where that is now. Do you know where the jump ring maker is, Lou?
Nope. Okay. I've got some 0.5 mil. I've just found some copper wire.
Let's have a look, see what we got down here.
If you want that.
So I would use a mandrel. I thought the jumping maker was down there, but it can't be. It must be somewhere else. So a jumping maker is like a drill chuck that you can turn, and in the drill chuck you put these little mandrels. They are just simple steel rods like this, and the idea is you put it into the jumping maker, you turn the handle, and then you wind. As the mandrel turns, it winds the wire onto it. It's a great idea. It comes with loads of mandrels from about 1.5 up to about 10 millimeter, and that's what there's in the device then that you can use for cutting them as well. I don't like to use that. I'm a bit scared of it, to be honest. But yeah.
I was just going to say, what if you don't have the jump ring maker?
So yeah, so what you would do is, let's have a look, see what we got here.
What's that gizmo I was using earlier to do my, it's like, oh, you know the thing. I can't describe it. You know, the thing with lots of cylinders piled on top of each other on a plier.
Wubbers.
Oh, well, what?
Wubbers.
Is that what it's supposed to be used for? 'Cause that's what I use it for.
You can do, yeah. It's like, yeah, like.
Because I've been using that.
Yeah.
And I think that works quite well.
That would be okay.
It's probably a bit more cost effective than.
Then what? Oh, still talking. So this is what I'm going to do. So basically, you just need a mandrel that is going to be a fraction smaller than the internal diameter of the wire, and I've got a length of wire here. Let me just cut this off here. And all I would do, this is about 0.5 millimeter wire, and what you can do is wrap that wire around and around. This is the manual way of doing it, whereas a jump ring maker would be, this mandrel would be spinning, you'd hold this, and the wire then would just be going on. But you can make this nice and straightforward. You can make these quite tight. So as you can see, we got a nice tight coil coming on here. Let me see if I can just zoom in a few bits to zoom on this. There we go. There we go, that's better. Yep, so you can just make a lovely, lovely tight coil. And then you've got a choice then of cutting it off. You can either cut it off with flush cutters, you can come along then with a piercing saw and use the piercing saw to cut that off. So there we go. You've got a nice tight coil. So you can use that. And then if you wanted to, you can come along with a pair of cutters like this and just simply cut. If you want to go into focus, there we go. There we go. And from that then you can make up all your small jump rings that way. Or what you could do is wrap a little bit of masking tape around the coil, hold on to it with your piercing saw, and then you can just cut down through the middle and you can cut that coil into a load of jump rings. But by just simply having a nice sharp pair of shears like this, you can come along and cut these jump rings. As you can see, got plenty of little jump rings there, and that's 1/2 millimeter thick. So that's how I would make up some very, very small jump rings. If you want to make 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, you can always use a pair of round nose pliers, just wrap it round. But the problem with round nose pliers is the jaws are tapered. But if you can get yourself some knitting needles, anything like that, bits of rod, round nails that you can use in the size that you wanted. But don't forget, if you want to have an internal diameter of say 2 millimeters and you have a 2 millimeter mandrel, after you've wound on the wire has a bit of a memory, so it'll open up a little bit. So even though that'll be 2 millimeters internal, or the jump ring should be 2 millimeters, it'll be slightly bigger due to the fact that the metal will relax and open up a little bit. So if you want to make sure the internal diameters are say 2 millimeters, start off with about a 1.8 millimeter mandrel to wrap the wire around, and when it relaxes and opens up, it should be that 2 millimeters. So in theory, these little jump rings are, so that was 2 millimeter, the wire was 1/2 millimeter, and my little jump rings now are saying 3.5. So as you can see, the rings have opened up a 1/2 millimeter bigger. So that's how I would make really, really small, very, very thin jump rings. Yes, Lou?
Good. Oh, Stephen's loving the thin down your solder idea.
Yes.
Good. David says, I missed the start of this Q&A. Have you polished the water cast silver? What is the best way to polish blind holes, not through holes in the cast piece? I did polish, and I didn't really want to polish because I really like the finish of the freshly water cast silver. It's kind of like matte but glows, isn't it? It's
yeah, it's
really unusual, and I can't recreate it. So I did have to polish it because I soldered ear and back, so I've just gone to get them to show you. Do you want them, Andrew?
Yeah, of course.
They are more or less, so I think these are as close to pairs as I can get. So I put them in the magnetic polisher, and then I think the back of one of them has got blind holes in, and I just kind of tried to open it out as best I could, because you don't want I don't know, makeup and things from people's ears going in them really, but it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing is open on the front, and then I just kind of finished off with a rouge mop a little bit on the fronts.
Yeah. So you've left them all pretty natural as they literally came out of the water.
Yeah. They're cool, aren't they?
As you say, you're never going to get an exact pair.
But you know what, that's a really exciting thing, and it's a really good way to present it to your customers as well. And you can say if you like a pair, or if you like a pendant, or if you like something, you better just get it, because it's not going to be replicated.
No, you won't be able to make them again.
I mean, the one there, I think it's the one on the top there, I really, really love at the top of, and I did think about just getting that cast, But then I suppose you've got to sell enough of them to warrant the casting charges then, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it's probably just not worth the bother. Oh, my mic's... Oh. Sorry, I went on mute to go and get my... Oh, sorry. To go and get my castings. Have you heard me at all? Have I just been
I'm
talking to
sure they've
Andrew?
heard you in the background.
Hopefully you heard me a bit. Did you hear me?
But they are lush. One-offs, never to be repeated.
I mean, I've got some other bits and pieces downstairs which I need to finish and do something with, and it feels like it's been a little bit labour intensive. But I think that's just because I've been perfecting my technique, which brings me on to another question. Somebody asked, what did you decide was the best technique? Well, for me, I'm going to tell you about my 4-plop technique. This is what worked for me. It was certainly towards the end of yesterday, and I don't know why this worked, but I don't think that... I only used room temperature water.
It came out of the tap, did it?
And it was cold water and room temperature water, and I didn't really find there was an awful lot of difference. No. High, slow pours gave long shapes. But for me, the best way to do it was to not overthink it too much. I had a washing up bowl of water, cold water, plate in the bottom to stop it burning through the plastic, and I literally aimed for the plate so that the crucible quite full, not over full obviously, but it, there was a decent amount in there. I don't know.
Okay.
Some, not a little
grams,
bit, not too much.
Grams,
there was
20 grams,
and I just went like that, kept the torch on it over the water like that. Didn't think too much about the height. I was just probably stood up, the bowl's there. And I just went plop, 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 plop. Oh, could you see me?
I can see you plopping, yes.
Could you see me plopping onto the plate in 4 different areas.
Yes.
Otherwise, it kind of piled up.
It did, didn't it?
I don't know whether that would... Maybe that's because the water wasn't deep enough. But I found if I moved, obviously keep the torch with you.
Yeah.
That's how I got the best results that I've got so far with my 4-plop technique. You're welcome.
But it's just the matter of experimenting. You heat it up and you pour it fast, slow, from a low height, from a high height. But as you said, when you pour it, you expect it to come out in like one long strand, but it doesn't. It does breaks up. But then our water was about 8 inches deep, perhaps.
I think so.
And by the time the metal hit the bottom plate, it must have been still slightly molten, because the next drop that came on top of it, it joined and it joined and it joined.
Sometimes you could pull them apart, but sometimes they just fused, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the moving technique, as long as you're hitting the plate just a little bit, you haven't got to go far, and just move and pour and move and pour and move and pour.
So the metal's landing on a different part.
Doesn't land back on the old pile.
Yeah. And you got good results.
Maybe if the water was colder.
Could we also tried saline?
We did try saline, and that didn't really make a lot of difference. I tried saline, and I tried something else. I've tried argentium actually, but it wasn't really a controlled experiment, because it didn't... Basically, I'm trying to do the same thing and changing one thing each time. Otherwise, you don't know what's worked you. But I just threw the argentium in the water. I didn't really do it with the same, everything else the same. So it's not really a fair test.
Yes.
Molten metal into water explosion. No.
No, not at all.
It's
I suppose if you had the opposite, because we had a large bowl of water with a small amount of silver. If you had a large amount of silver with a small amount of water, then perhaps yes. But this way around.
So be careful what you're pouring into. I would imagine you'd need a foundry rules. Ooh.
But no, it's okay. It's the other way around, I would have thought, because there's a greater mass, there's a greater volume of water to silver.
Ah, right, okay.
As opposed to the other way around. That then would
you need a decent amount of water, and obviously don't pour into glass, because the heat, I suppose if you miss, you're going to crack the glass, aren't you?
Yeah.
Small amount of metal, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, because my dad came in, didn't he, my dad's a retired metallurgist, so he's been thinking all weekend as well about what might...
about what best to do.
What might make a more successful pour. but he hasn't come up with anything useful yet.
Well, nothing that we haven't tried.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously all the health and safety precautions apply. I think the biggest thing is when you're getting the water out, if it goes on the floor, you don't want to slip on the water, do you? Or that's, yeah, obviously iced water.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did try cold water out the tap. I'm thinking that might stop it. Perhaps that'll cool it faster and it won't join up in the bottom so much. So that's probably going to be my next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about experimenting, isn't it? It's about playing, experimenting with different techniques to see what comes out with. So the maddening thing is you can't replicate. You think that's an amazing shape. Oh, I can't make another one.
Well, you can if you've got something that you really, really love. Like if it comes out looking like, I don't know, an orchid or something like that, then you can just send it to a caster and have it replicated, can't you? Have a mould made and then...
Yeah.
Would a metal bucket work, or would it contaminate the silver? No, I think
it wouldn't contaminate the silver.
That would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because the plastic washing up bowl is probably not the best thing to use.
Not plastic, no.
No.
That's why the plate
That's why the plate's in the bottom. There's probably better things to use. Because I was wondering whether, I mean, this is me now showing myself as knowing very little about this type of science, is the surface, like the body of water, the surface area or the surface tension, is that, does that change with mass or surface area?
Because you tried it with a narrow vase, didn't you?
It wasn't that narrow.
It was like that. It was like that narrow.
It was bigger than that.
But not much bigger. But that made no difference, did it? Compared to the volume, the surface area, the bulk bucket.
No, I just kept getting my sleeves wet when I went in to retrieve them.
But it's all good. But yes, it is good. All good fun.
Yeah, it is good.
Yes.
Okay.
With peppercorns at the bottom at school.
Ooh, that's cool.
Very interesting. Excellent.
Good.
My drink.
Okay.
Question.
Jane said, I bought a pretty bracelet in a cheap metal from Spain, thinking I could sand cast it in silver, but it's quite curved and quite large. Just wondering which way round I place it in the sand.
Without seeing it, it's going to be really impossible to let you know, unfortunately. So yeah, send us a picture, or send it to louise@andrewberry.co.uk, or you could even join our Facebook group at the Bench Community. Just go onto Facebook and search for at the Bench Community on Facebook, and join the At the Bench community there. We got some amazing people on there now. We got Nans Allen, we've got Charles Newton Brain, we've got Kevin Potter, we've got Alan Revere. He, Louise had the pleasure of letting him into the group over the weekend. So yes, Alan Revere's on there as well. So there's loads of people who can give you really good advice. But yes, please come along and join that at the Bench Community. Just search for it on Facebook. We are there. Excellent.
Good. Okay. Gordo is saying, when soldering a ring shank, is it okay to sandwich the solder between the join?
It is. It is a good way of keeping the solder in place. What you must remember though is that you should always flux between the joins first, because if you put your piece of solder in the middle, there may be a chance that the flux won't get through. So then that would be your piece of solder within there. It is a good idea, because ideally, and especially if that is really, really thin solder. So ideally your piece of, that's a flat section band now, okay? So ideally your piece of solder should only literally be the area of the face.
And wafer thin, thank you.
And wafer thin, yes.
As if somebody had put it through the rolling mill to an inch of its life.
Yes. So, yes, that is what you can do. But make sure that before you put that piece of solder in between the joint, make sure you've got plenty of flux on the inside, just to be on the safe side. If you don't, there's a chance then that your solder won't flow. And that is quite a good idea, because then the solder will be basically melting across the whole face of the joint as well. And also don't forget, you can put it If you lie your ring down on your block, you can always put your piece of solder underneath the join, heat the join up, and then the solder then will melt and go up into the join that way as well. What you've got to be careful of this way, that there is tension pushing those two faces together, because if there's no tension pushing those two faces together, when the solder melts there may be a gap between those two faces, and the solder obviously does not like to fill gaps. It's not supposed to fill gaps, but you've got to have tension on those ends pushing together, so when the solder melts they will come together nice and tight. Yes, Lou.
Good. Stephen says, I've usually see people pour into a 5-gallon bucket, but I haven't tried it yet. 5 gallon, is that just like a standard size bucket then?
Yeah, like the bucket that you buy like in B&Q, and like a pail for next to like days. Yeah.
Oh, okay, like a metal bucket.
Yeah.
Okay, perhaps we'll get a metal bucket and see if the depth has any effect.
Yes, it may keep the water cooler due to the fact that it's metal as well. May do.
Or it may just make it hotter.
Warmer because of the
because of the fact it conducts.
Okay, yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, Mike says, another silversmith has told me that using an oxyacetylene torch will create more fire scale than propane. Is there truth in this?
Acetylene and oxygen, for me, acetylene is a dirtier gas and produces more carbon. That's why you get some of those little tadpoles. You should never use acetylene and oxygen with platinum. You should always use propane. Propane is a cleaner gas. I don't know whether the acetylene would give you more oxides, because really it is the oxygen that is causing the fire scale and not necessarily the gas. So I think it depends on how harsh and how aggressive that flame is with the amount of oxygen. So it's the oxygen reacting with the copper in the silver that is causing the fire scale, not necessarily the gas itself. I could be mistaken. Perhaps it is a dirtier gas that causes impurities on the surface. I don't know. But it's the oxygen that you've got to watch out for, definitely. Yes, Louise.
Okay, Donald, I'm so sorry I missed your question. Would 1.5 mil beaded gold wire be okay for a ring shank, please?
I suppose it would be. I don't think it would have a lot of strength, because if it was a 1.5 millimeter round wire, square wire, I would say yes, because if it's square wire, it is square, and it's 1.5 by 1.5. Yep. But beaded wire is a bead, and then it's got a little bit like that coming out of it, and then there's another bead, and there's another little bit of metal, and there's another bead. So even though this may be 1.5, this little area by here is not. And I would have thought that's going to be like 0.5 millimeter, something like that. And that's going to be 0.5 millimeter here. So even though the metal may look 1.5 and it looks substantial, these little adjoining links that are joining the beads together are very thin. I would personally go with 2 millimeter, because the bigger the bead, the bigger this connecting piece is going to be. So personally, I would go to a 2 millimeter instead of 1.5, due to the fact that it's going to be stronger with the links connecting the beads together. You could go with 1.5, but I don't think it's going to be a very hard wearing ring. So I'd always rather go to the 2 millimeter for strength and for longevity as well. Yeah. Yes, Lou.
Okay, G2 silver stuff. I bought 5 walking Liberty silver dollars and suspect they are fake. I tried the magnet test and it did slow as it travelled down the coin. How do I find out for sure? It says 99% silver.
I don't really know too much about
Where are you in the world?
Coins. You'd be better
I
off.
guess America.
Yeah, I think you'd be better off getting a testing kit, a Troy testing kit.
Is that going to say whether it's 99% silver though?
No, but it will tell you whether there's a base metal in it, whether there's brass or anything like that, yeah.
Or if you can get to somebody with an XRF machine.
Oh, definitely XRF machine, yeah.
That would be a really accurate.
Yeah.
Certainly a more accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, you do see all sorts of fakes these days. I wouldn't want to say for definite, but you can either get a Troy testing kit, which is acids that you put up onto the metal, and the reaction of the acid tells you then what the metal is. But as Louise says, perhaps go to like a pawnbroker's with an XRF machine, like a little X-ray machine, and that will tell you the composition of the metal. But without that equipment, I don't think there's any way that you're going to tell. Yeah, unfortunately not.
I think definitely the XRF is a non-destructive test, whereas the Troy test, you do have to file it very slightly and apply acids.
Yes, absolutely.
But the XRF is obviously just
the X-rays.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yes.
Good.
Las Vegas is notorious for fake silver dollars.
Oh, no. Stephen says, are you going to sign the first books for the fans? Yeah.
Yeah, any books that that we sell, you can have them plain if you want, and I'm sure they'll go on the website with a little box that you can put, like whatever you want me to put on there. I'm happy to do that, yeah. Absolutely. Why not? Yeah.
Aww.
We'll have to see what happens.
So excited.
It's going to be good. It is going to be good.
Good.
Any more questions, Lou?
No.
Cool.
Not at the minute.
Yeah, settling is a dirty gas, Stephen says. Yeah. Then Jane uses oxyacetylene in South Africa. It's just the setup I bought, not knowing any better when I started out and used with Little Smiths. I find I don't get more fire scale. Okay. So it is just the oxygen that is coming out that reacts with the copper alloyed with the silver. Cool, excellent.
Good.
Anything else we need to say?
Just waiting for some more questions.
Any more questions? Come on, bring them on. Bring them on. Yes, so don't forget, At the Bench community, it's on the Facebook, and check out our other films on YouTube as well. Oh, do you do any cuttlefish bone casting? Sorry, I'm reading out. Sorry, Louise.
No, go for it. It's okay. I was just going to find the...
Yes, we do cuttlefish casting. We have a beginner's guide to cuttlefish casting on YouTube. So Louise is just going to pop that in the chat now. And also we've got a workshop as well.
Andrew Berry,
oh!
And welcome to At the Bench's YouTube channel.
Hi, Andrew Berry. Okay. Right, so I've just put the link to the YouTube... there's a few actually. And there's a video. There's a workshop as well. There's loads. There's quite a few bits and pieces on At the Bench.
We've used, if you remember At the Bench, we have done quite a bit of cuttlefish casting. We've used cuttlefish casting. That's the story you're on.
I was just thinking, yeah, why doesn't this look familiar to me?
We have done quite a bit of cuttlefish casting and sand casting, having a particular mould, seeing what the results are like with sand casting and also with cuttlefish casting. We've carved into cuttlefish casting. We've also done a workshop on At the Bench as well. Cuttlefish casting, I'm not quite sure what that is.
It was quite early, and I remember because we went to an award ceremony the night before.
Did we?
And yeah, and I had a bit of a headache
and
didn't feel the best, and then you decided to burn a load of old dead fish, which made me feel great.
So again, this is going to be put into the chat. This is one of our workshops on At the Bench. You can buy the workshops for £25 or obviously become a member.
Tufa stone casting. Tufa stone casting is very similar without smell. Ooh.
Should look into that, shall we?
Yeah, definitely. Good, because it's the smell that I really can't stand.
It is, isn't it? Yes. Tufa is slightly different. Tufa, you're not going to get that distinctive cuttlefish banded texture, but tufa is pretty good. I haven't tried it, but we could do, couldn't we?
Yeah, I quite like the sound of that. Perhaps then you'll stop picking up cuttlefish off the beach everywhere we go then.
No, it's more exciting.
Stinky. Jane is saying, I'm waiting to purchase a plating setup. Any recommendations?
It depends on whether you want a bath or whether you want a pen plating solution. So for us, we use the Yentna RM01. I don't think it's made anymore, and it's Gentner, Gentner. And I think ours is the RM01. And we got ours from Bet's Metal Sales. But that system, it's a cold bath, which means the solutions don't have to be heated up. You can use it straight out of the Pyrex containers, straight away. You don't have to warm it up. The problem with the bath system is that you have to warm the bath up to be able to warm up the solutions. But obviously you know that anything that warms up evaporates, and then you've got to keep topping up the containers all the time. But in the Yentna, it's cold, it doesn't evaporate, not as much anyway, because you keep the lids on. So that's what I use. There is a brand new version out now. You can do gold plating, you can do rhodium plating with the Yentna RM01. There's a later version out now. I can't remember which version it is, but Bet's Metal Sales sell it. It's about £1,000. It was in that day. So maybe about 1,200, 1,300 with the solutions these days. Expensive. You can buy a pen plating solution, which is basically the solutions come in small little bottles. You have a unit that you can adjust the voltage on it, and then you have a pen that's connected, and then you connect your item onto a crocodile clip, and when you touch the pen that has the pen plating solution soaked up in the nib, you can actually draw on it to plate. The Durston one, we've got various models of the Durston one because we were playing with the prototypes. So Durston make a version. You can then get 9 carat plating, you can get 14 carat, you can get 18 carat, you can get 22 carat, you can get black rhodium, you can get silver rhodium, you can get all the different color golds as well. And I find that the pen plating is cheaper because all you got to do is buy the small little bottles. Whereas with the bath system, you've got to buy it in about like a gram. It's a large container that you've got to then add distilled water to. The pen plating is great if you want to selectively plate. If you want to re-tip claws that you've built up with solder, you can replate it with rhodium, but it's no good for plating large rings. Pen plating, small little areas, but the bath system, you'd have to have something like this that is going to cost you. So those are your options.
That's something we haven't done, is a plating workshop.
No, we won't.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to use the pen plater.
It's too technical.
Thanks.
No, not for you. No, I didn't mean it's too technical for you, but it is just so technical.
What, pen plating?
Yes, to get the plating right, and then the one unit that you've got is not necessarily the same as another unit that you've got, or another unit that another person may have, and the solutions may be different. If you all use the same unit, it isn't so bad, but every unit is going to be different. It was not meant to be
mean, spiteful.
Mean. No.
Shall we have another question then?
Yes, please, best had. Quickly.
Stephen says, any easy things to do as a beginner with thin wire that you suggest? Obviously wire wrapping.
I see wire wrapping will be...
Wire wrapping, I've got a lovely book actually on wire wrapping, and it's in the shed here. Yeah, really, really nice, and it'll take you from complete beginner to projects which are actually look really, really impressive. You know, the wire weaving and the...
That's right, I remember you doing it, yes.
Yeah, it's... yeah, I can't remember the name of it. I don't know who it's by, and I can't even remember what it looks like. But if you want to know, message me, louise@andrewberry.co.uk. Drop me a line via your email, and I will find it, and I will tell you what it is. But it's a really lovely book.
Shall I have a look? Or not,
I don't even know. I got a few, so I'll have to look at the actual book to see which one it was. I've got a couple of nice ones, but there is one in particular which is really good. Also, I like doing lashing lately. That's something I'm doing a bit of, and that's literally just plain band, maybe earrings, rings, and just wrapping round periodically, a few times, soldering, moving on, doing, and that looks really nice, just like oxidised. It might be that, but I bought a couple around about the same time, so I don't know.
Yes.
So like you can make like hoop earrings with them kind of like lashing around them, and it kind of looks a little bit bohemian.
So that was one of the books that you
Quite
bought.
a cool way to
Twisted.
use
And
to use narrow wire.
That's on Amazon, £17.
I don't remember which one it was, but I can tell you for sure if you want to.
You got your
drop me an
Kumihimo.
email, I'll have a look.
Kumihimo. You bought as well. Just going through your shopping list now.
Kumihimo.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I was getting mixed up with something else. Yeah.
Yeah, 5th of April. You bought 2 books, the Kumihimo and that.
I keep buying these books, and I need to just start actually reading them cover to cover rather than just buying more.
and leaving them by the side of your bed.
I do read them.
I know you do.
Yeah, I do read them.
But I think it was that one. I think it was
the other ones, and I want them.
I think it was this one here called Twisted, 1766.
I'm not sure which one it was. I know I had a couple, but if you, like I say, drop me a line and I can tell you for definite which one I like.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the obvious thing to do if you've got narrow wire. Do you think it's impractical to solder 26 gauge wire designs onto a ring such that the solder might overwhelm the detail? Or is there a way to do it while still preserving the detail? I know a way. I've just thought of a way. You know what I'm going to say?
Yes. Go on.
I think if you use paste solder
or argentium.
Or argentium, yeah.
You could fuse argentium, couldn't you? So there'd be no solder at all, and it literally would be just fused. But paste solder, we'll come back to paste solder again. You can apply paste solder so thinly in small little areas, that you'll be able to do that, not a problem. And because the paste solder is paste, it's not likely to not melt before, after, you know what I mean? It's your embellishments are not likely to melt before the solder melts.
I guess as well, just don't put the heat on the embellishments directly, put them put it underneath or next to without, did you already say that?
Exactly, no.
Oh, okay.
But thank you for saying that, yes. Definitely. Yes.
Good. For sterling silver, that would apply for sterling silver.
Paste solder, paste solder is expensive these days.
Yeah.
I looked at gold solder the other day. Oh, wrong one. There we go, that's a better one. I think it's like £120 for 2 grams of 9 carat yellow. We're not getting that. We got enough solder there without buying more paste solder. But yes, it is expensive these days. And this is the problem, is the panel solder is far cheaper, but buying paste, you buy the convenience, but then you have to use it, otherwise it dries up. So that's another question. Look, there's another question coming.
Would you ever use Renaissance wax on dull gemstones? Yes, we have done.
Yes?
Yeah, we had a lapis lazuli that looked a bit tired.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it did bring it
back up.
It back up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a dramatic makeover, but it did brighten it up quite a lot, brought the colour out a little bit, and
It only works on those sort of soft cabs.
Okay.
But it wouldn't work on hard...
Because it's not a polish, is it? It's just a...
it is a polish.
It is a polish, is it?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
It's like a polish, a waxy polish.
Ah.
It wouldn't work on a hard gemstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of...
Porous stones.
Mohs?
I think it has to go into the surface because it's a wax, and if it's a very smooth surface, say it's like an amethyst, it's not going to work because it'll just wipe off. Whereas it's a slightly softer stone, like turquoise would be ideal, or a sodalite or lapis, anything like that, you're going to be able to bring up a nice shine with the wax because of the surface. Anything harder, it isn't going to work. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Any more questions?
Yeah. Okay. So what do you feel is hard to do as a jeweller? Ooh.
Anything that you don't know what to do is hard.
But anything's hard before you start on that journey, isn't it?
It is.
Don't be afraid, because
You've just got to break it down.
Once you've started, yeah.
The more you do it, the easier it becomes, isn't it? I found stone setting hard, but you go through it, you research it, you understand it, you watch films, you read books, you then can come along and then understand how to do it. There are various stages involved in stone setting. Drilling the hole for a start. Some people have problems drilling, but drilling the hole is got to be the first part with that. Burring it out, you have to know the speeds of the burrs. You have to know the size of the birds for stone setting. And it's the same with everything else. Fold forming, you've had a go at fold forming. You've had a go at water casting. It's hard in the beginning until then. The more you do it, the more you understand how it works, what the results you're expecting
and
to
I think
come out
as well, when I first started the diploma, I found piercing, it was just my nemesis. I just thought I'm never going to do any piercing. Anything I make is not going to involve piercing. That was my kind of like, that was the way I decided I was going to go forward, and I couldn't really do that, could I?
No.
But now I don't really think too much about it. It's still not my strongest point, but I think I've moved on tenfold from where I was, and I don't worry about it. I don't have that mental block and think, oh, I'm not very good at that, because I think I am okay and I'm getting better all the time at it. So
exactly.
yeah, I think everything's hard when you first start it.
Yes. So research and just practice.
Yeah, I think practice is the main thing. Even in the last couple of weeks, when we were talking about soldering like a bail on top of a pen, it won't be things like that, and I've been practicing that in these last 2 weeks, and I've come up with a way that really, really works for me. So it's just trying, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So everything is hard before you start.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Everything's complicated, isn't it, at the beginning? But then the more you do it, it sounds
obvious.
Sounds obvious, but it is true, isn't it?
Because if it was easy on the first attempt, we'd all be brilliant, wouldn't we?
Tanya says, I'm finding flush setting really hard. Flush setting is hard. I think it's, especially at the beginning, it's just getting the right depth, getting the right, what's the word?
Stone level,
yeah, you know what I mean.
Tables level, tables flush with the surface, the sizing's right. This is the thing. It's difficult if you don't have the right equipment or the right tools. You can use, it's down on the floor, a flex shaft, and that's not a problem. You can use a Dremel, that's not a problem. If you spend the money and get something like a micro motor, this is going to be far more accurate. That will give you better results.
I love my micro.
You love your micro, and I love my Bedeco micro motors as well. So yeah, it's the accuracy, and it's also the speed control as well with the micro motors that you don't necessarily have with the flex shaft.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. Mike says, I made it so complicated. I etched out the design I wanted on the ring and laid down the wire on top of it and soldered, hoping the solder would get sucked into the groove. Etched out the design, laid down the wire on top of it and soldered, hoping.
Yeah, I think as you said, you just got to heat up the main body of the piece for the solder then to be then drawn across to the fine embellishment or the fine wire.
From underneath?
From underneath. Yeah, from underneath.
Yeah,
definitely. Yes.
Okay.
Cool. One last
Trevor
question.
says, I'm thinking of using the wax on Camemorite. I've never heard of that. Camemorite. Peter has said, Mike, I would do it the same way as traditional granulation. A solution of copper sulfate and gum arabic, no solder is needed. Oh, yeah, cool.
That's right.
Andrew, have you done any lapidary work either with faceted stones or gem grade turquoise? I'm trying to cut some turquoise with quartz in. With quartz in inclusions, and they keep coming out.
Don't know. I'm not a lapidarist, so I would not be the authority to give you any advice with that, I'm afraid. The majority of lapidarists would use stone saws or sort of tile saws to cut. We've got an attachment that goes on the dual tool, but the disc is a diamond tipped disc that most stone cutters would use. The person that may give you some advice is a lady called Helen Hilton from Gemcraft. They've just opened up a workshop up in, where is it to? North York-ish, just below York, and she runs classes up there. So Helen Hilton, if you look her up, I think it's called Gemcraft. Husband is John Hilton. They had a company called Hilton Brothers. So put those into the search terms and she should come up on Google, and she should be able to help you with that. Yeah.
Good. David has sent me a photo very kindly of how to apply very little amounts of solder to fine wire. File solder into something like this. But have we got the lead?
Should be down on the floor. Yeah. Let's have a look. Excuse me a second, walking in front of you. So yeah, you can use the same technique as people who do filigree. You can get your solder with a big coarse file and file the solder so all the little powder comes off. So
I think that's what David's...
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, can you zoom in on that? I'm not quite sure why we're flashing, but... Okay, yeah. So it's the same, excuse the flashing, don't know why it's flashing.
I don't know why it's flashing.
But yeah, so it's the same thing, yeah.
Thank you, David.
So, yeah,
cool.
So that's what you can use. And then you can mix that up then with your borax or your flux, and you can use that to apply to your piece. And obviously being powder, it's very, very thinly scattered throughout the flux solution.
Ooh.
Excellent.
And I have some pictures from Diane of broomcasting.
Okay.
Look how cool this is. Whoa, 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 not yet.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let me get the laptop, let me just refresh that on top of there. There we go. Can I show now?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Very nice. Oh, still flashing.
Sorry, I'm flashing.
Really nice.
Isn't it
so
cool?
yeah, so pouring molten silver onto a variety of products.
Yeah, you have got to exercise caution, of course.
Extreme care, and obviously have perhaps a bucket of sand by the side of you should anything catch on fire. Excellent. Should we call that a day, Louise? What do you think?
Yes.
Was there another question that we need to answer?
No, copper sulfate combines with the precious metal and knows the melting point at the area of contact. Eutectic soldering. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the eutectic solder, that's what you use for the enamel, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah. And we were talking about that yesterday, weren't we? Good. Okay.
Good. We shall leave it there. We shall leave it there. So we are going to try and get to do an open evening for our Jewellery Fundamentals Diploma this week. Not quite sure what evening just yet. We've got to try and sort that out. That'll be later on this week. If you're interested in joining our diploma program, go to atthebenchacademy.com. All the information's on there. It's about half full now already. We've hardly advertised it. We offer a set number of places. We want to make sure that we give everybody who comes onto our diploma course the right amount of attention. We're not into taking loads and loads and loads of students. We have a set number of students that we take on each year. The first years now are coming into their third and fourth week of their diploma. This week and next week they're making up a gorgeous silver locket. So if you're interested in joining our diploma program, go to atthebenchacademy.com. There's more information on there, and stay tuned to our socials over the next few days to be notified when we're going to have our open evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you're not sure whether it's for you, just get in touch with us, because we can always set up a little Zoom, or you can have a chat, give me some information about your background, and
so it's right for you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't want to sign up for something and then halfway through find out that you know most of it maybe, or you haven't got the time to do it. It's got to be right for you, isn't it? Because it is time consuming. no education
And it's an investment.
it is an investment. Exactly, that's what I was going to say. So sometimes, like last year, a couple of people approached me and I just said, look, I don't think you're going to get anything out of it really, or perhaps
yeah, we're not interested in just taking people's money and just...
No, it's got to be it's got to be right.
It's got to be right
But,
for them.
I mean, we've got people on this year who have got experience in making jewellery, but the quality now in the second term that you've just marked, is just unbelievable, isn't it? It's brilliant. It's
yes.
So impressive.
Yeah. So we love that.
Yeah.
We love the quality of the work that's coming through.
Sometimes just going back to the start with the right support and guidance makes big differences, doesn't it?
It does.
It comes together to make big differences and big impacts.
Yes. Yes. Good.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on our socials this week to be notified when that happens. As I said, go to atthebenchacademy.com. If you want to join our Facebook group, just search for At The Bench Community on the Facebook and you can join. Okay, everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. We're going to get and go and have some tea now, and keep an eye on socials all this week, basically, for what's happening. Anything you want to say, Louise?
I don't think so.
Okay, excellent. Should we go?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, I was looking at the chat then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Everyone, take care. We will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.